Hello, Year 7, and welcome to Miss Thomas's latest video. Today, I'm going to talk about writing about reading. Lots of times in English class, and sometimes in other subjects, you will read something, and then the teacher will ask you a question about what you've read. You then usually have to write a paragraph or a short answer in response to that question. So today, we're going to look at exactly how you should put that paragraph together. So, for today's example, we're going to use may be because everyone in Year 7 has read that story. We're going to talk about May and her experience of school in a particular poem. Let's have a look at the question so we know what to focus on when we're doing our reading. Here's the question right here. What do we learn about May and school in this poem? And those three words are really important because usually when you're being asked to do this kind of writing, you need to focus just on the section that's on your assessment or that the teacher has asked you to look at. Don't write about the whole book unless that's what it says in the question. So we're only going to look at a particular poem. The poem that we're going to look at right now is in May Be, and it's on pages 140 and 141. This is the scene where teacher sends May to sit with the little kids in the front. So it should be pretty familiar to most of us. But let's have a look just in case. We're going to reread, and I'm going to start from I took a deep breath. I took a deep breath. Maybe this time I could do it. Maybe teacher would never have to know. I held my reader in front of me, high enough so I wouldn't have to see their faces, both elbows squeezed to my sides. I am the wind. I am wind, and Rita covered her mouth with her prissy little fingers. I am the wind, and The teacher rapped the ruler on her desk. Excuse me, child, what is your name? Warm tears splashed my feet. Something was broken inside. My new teacher knew. Just like my reading, my words were slow to form. Mavis, ma'am. Well, Mavis, she said, like my name tasted sour. I think you're sitting in the wrong part of the schoolroom. Kindly move to the second row. Ma'am? I turned my head just a little, not wanting to show my tears. She was seating me with the little ones? I said, she spoke louder now, like I was hard of hearing, move to the front of the room. Okay, we're going to stop there with our reading. So there are lots of things that I've noticed in this poem. I've noticed this bit right here. My name tasted sour. That idea of taste right there is imagery. So that's a really good example. I like that one. I might use that in my paragraph. What else have I noticed? I've noticed this question. She was seating me with the little ones, and the question almost sounds like May is disbelieving. She can't believe this is actually happening to her. What else have I noticed? I liked this bit, wrapped the ruler. That's alliteration. And I think that wrapped the ruler really emphasizes that noise and the kind of sharp sound that's there. And I did it when I was reading. I did and tapped my pen on the edge of the desk. And I can really see in my mind's eye with that alliteration the teacher's kind of sharp movements, quite loud. Excuse me, child. It makes the teacher seem quite controlling, quite mean. So that's probably enough for my paragraph. So let's take some of these ideas. This bit of alliteration that makes the teacher seem quite mean. This bit of imagery about sour here that makes it sound like the teacher really dislikes May. She's quite mean to May. And I think maybe this question here again, which shows that May kind of can't believe this is really happening to her. So I'm going to take those things. I'm going to write about them in my paragraph. So how do I get started? When you're writing about reading, the first thing you have to do is answer the question. Answer the question. So I've got to look at the question up here. What do we learn about May and school in this poem? So to write my answer, I'm just going to turn the question around. I'm going to start by saying, in this poem, we learn that May has a negative experience at school. Okay, so that is my answer. So I've done that bit. So now I need to give some evidence or some examples. What I tend to say about evidence and examples is that examples are when you retell the story in your own words. And evidence is usually a quote. Now, I prefer evidence because I think it's stronger. That's when you copy it straight from the book. But sometimes we use examples, and those are okay too. You always want to have at least some evidence in any paragraph that you do. I'm going to use evidence today just because I think that's the best way to do it. So, I need a piece of evidence. I'm going to say, I've said in this poem, we learn that May has a negative experience at school. For instance, the text says, teacher wrapped the ruler on her desk. So that's my evidence. And you can see as well, I'm going to switch and use a red pen to show you that I've used these quotes here to make it really clear that I've copied that line straight out of the book. Okay, so I've done my evidence. Now I've got to explain what it means. So I'm going to say this example of alliteration, I'm going to name that poetic technique, alliteration. She wrapped the ruler. This example of alliteration shows the reader that the teacher is, I've said mean when we were talking about it. I'm also thinking about the word strict. I might use both of those, is strict and mean. Because, now I could have just stopped there and not done it because. This shows the reader that the teacher is strict and mean, and that's a pretty good start. But if you really want top marks in an assessment, if you really want a strong paragraph, you need to be a little bit more detailed. So I need to explain, why does this show that the teacher is strict and mean? So this shows the teacher is strict and mean because she is very loud and calls attention to May's reading in front of the whole school. So that's quite a detailed explanation. You can see that the explanation right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5 lines long. So that's quite a long bit of explanation there. So that would earn me a lot of marks. It's a good idea, though, depending on how long the answer needs to be. It's a pretty good idea to go ahead and add another bit of evidence and another bit of explanations. I'm just going to see if I can add a little bit more to this. So I don't need to answer the question again because I've already done that. So I just need another piece of evidence. I'm going to get the text again and have a look. So we did this bit, the alliteration wrapped the ruler. And I'm going to carry on talking about teachers. I'm going to look at this bit up here. My name tasted sour, that bit of imagery right there. I like that. I think that's an interesting way of describing it. So I'm going to use that bit. And I'm going to start by saying, also, in the poem, it describes teachers' voice as, let's see, as, I'm just going to say using imagery. Okay, now that's my evidence. Now I need to explain it. This phrase tells us teacher dislikes saying May's name. Okay, I could just stop there, and that would be a great response. I'm just going to see if I can wrap up, though, for just that extra maybe mark on an assessment with a summary about how teacher makes May feel about school. Now, let's see. I've talked about her voice. I've talked about the noise. I've said that she's strict and that she's mean. I've said she dislikes saying May's name. I'm going to write something here. The poet is trying to show readers that teacher is almost angry with May because she can't read well. And readers will feel sympathy for May as a result. Phew, that's a pretty long paragraph. However, I'm pretty pleased with it because I've got lots of great things in here. I'm just going to go through with my red pen. I'm just going to tick some of them. So I need to answer the question, and I've done that right here. Then I need some evidence. So I'm going to tick the 2 bits of evidence. I've got this bit, wrapped the ruler, and then I've got this bit, my name tasted sour. I'm just going to underline both of those so it's really clear where that evidence is. Okay, I've got those 2 bits. And I have nice long chunks of explanation after each of them, including this nice summary statement. And the thing that I really like in this summary is this bit at the end, where I'm talking about readers will feel sympathy for May as a result. Because that's the effect of both of those pieces of evidence that I've got, how readers are going to feel after they read those things. All right, that looks like a great paragraph to me. I hope this helps you write yours. Thanks.